Brand new leak footage of Terence Bud Crawford, now retired boxer, as he's helping his friend prepare for their fight. But the interesting takeaway is the newly retired Crawford's current weight, which to me, I think is a good icebreaker to a whole host of questions surrounding Terence Crawford's true weight. In this video, I will break everything down and give you my honest thoughts. Let's get into it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. A couple of people sent me a clip of Terence Crawford. He is currently working with his friend, fighter from Argentina named Lester Martinez, who has an upcoming fight on Pro Box TV, right? He also fought on Crawford's undercard when Crawford fought Canelo. Baby, you want baby, I know that. And he had a very, to me, the best fight on the card with Christian and Billy. Very good fight. So now Crawford is helping his friend out, who's also trained by his longtime trainer, Bomac. And you guys clearly wanted me to see this because a lot of you guys sent me the clip, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, Crawford, I get it. This ain't no like body shaming. I'm just like, he looked big, right? But we'll play through it, and then you let me know what you think. So these edits are hard to tell, a little bit hard to tell, but the video will clear up, and you'll get to see, like, maybe right there. Let me see if I can get it. Huh? I think there's some better shots, so stay tuned in the video. So he's just doing some work. Yeah. When all these little effects go off, we'll be good. So they're just putting in work, moving around. All right, here we go. Here we go. You see? Y'all see Crawford? Hold on. Boom. Boom. So this is the biggest that I ever remember seeing Bud Crawford, right? And I'm going to let y'all see the clip. Taylor Swift, I'm going to let you finish, but Beyonce had the best album of all time. Huh? Kanye to the huh? So we're going to go to the clip and I'll explain a bit more like what is bringing this up. Right? So he's just putting in work, helping the friend, no big deal there. But literally, judging from this brief clip, this is kind of the biggest that I ever remember, like weight-wise, remember Bud Crawford at. Now, I get it. He's retired. He could do whatever he wants now. That's not even the issue. But the reason this comes up for me, let me see if I can pause it on a good spot. Boom. I think I got it. The reason why this is still an interesting topic, despite him being retired, is because when you guys sent me the clip, and so many of you did that, and I'm looking at this graphic of Terence Crawford, he's not really that far removed from the Canelo fight, right? It hasn't been a year. I don't even think it's officially spring yet. And he fought Canelo in September. So to see him go from being dialed and chipped up in the Canelo fight to his current form, he looks like he's enjoying his retirement. And the thing that I'm thinking about is now it's kind of made me reassess like some things about Crawford's career. Now, I told you guys, in my honest opinion, This generation of fighters, they move differently, and it's just something that we all have to get used to in terms of you got guys who they're not fighting at their true weight classes. And when I'm looking at this for Crawford, it really makes me believe that you are a workhorse and a gym rat and a terrific fighter. No one will ever take that away from you. Your career's over, right? But I will say this. Judging by these clips and even the buildup of the Canelo fight, how you were looking. Remember when Ilia Topuria posted that picture of Crawford and he had his shirt off or he had a wife beat and Topuria posted a picture and he looked kind of big. And then there's the one where he was playing like he power slapped Steve Nelson, right? Those clips as well as what I'm seeing here. This makes me reimagine. I ain't going to hold you. It made me reimagine Crawford's whole career in terms of like, you stayed a welterweight because you were disciplined, but really your body looks like it needed to probably move up. That's why he only had a brief detour at 154, one fight, and then moved up and was so confident versus Canelo Alvarez. Because when I'm looking at this clip, Lester Martinez, right? Again, he fought on Crawford's undercard. And Lester Martinez, he looked bigger than the champion, Christian and Billy, right? I'm showing you right here. I'm showing you, right? So it didn't look like Lester Martinez was a super duper small, super middleweight fighter, right? He looked bigger than the champion, right? And then when they replenished, he looked like he had some good size to him. But then when I'm looking at this clip that y'all sent me of the boy Bud, that boy Bud, he looked bigger than Lester Martinez, who's the super middleweight. And again, I understand he just fought Canelo as super middleweight and he's retired. He could weigh 400 pounds if he wants. He can get on this big pun. Ready for war, Joe. How you want to blow they spot? I know these dirty guys that'll get us in if we murder some. You can get your big pun on. It's not even about that. Everybody hit the floor. Joey crack. If they move, shoot them and they dead in the middle. Little did we know that we riddled to middleman who didn't do diddly. It'll be a cold day. Like, I don't care how much Crawford weighs. It's not even about that. But I'm just talking about it from the perspective of, I don't know how you was even making welterweight as long as you did to even fight Arrow, because it looks like you had to move up. And now, to me, it's making more sense why Bud was so confident before Canelo, because he looked big. I'm seeing recent pictures of Canelo. Right here, he definitely looks bigger than Canelo's walk-around weight. And it's funny because, ironically enough, I told you before the fight, Bud is more skilled than Canelo, absolutely, right? He has more tools in the toolkit. And I told you that the only X factor that would even make the fight interesting is Bud Crawford moving up in weight. How does he take a punch at the weight class? You know, can he take Canelo's punch? But that was quickly answered in the fight when they fought. And now we see why. Bud is pretty big. And this is what I've been telling y'all about this generation, right? This generation of fighter, you know, they're making these, like, they're doing these crazy cuts or whatever, and then hulking up when they're not fighting, or in Bud's case, when he's retired. Speaking of, another reason for me making this video is there were a lot of people who suggested that Bud was coming back, but he does look happily retired, because if he does come back, what division is he going to compete with? So Bud Crawford's career, I know this, he said it was over, but a lot of people doubted that. They were like, man, even podcasts, they're like, man, you would come back for 100 M's. And he was like, no, I'm not selling my soul. So it does look like he's content, and he's done what he's done in the sport, and he's chilling, helping other fighters, paying it forward and stuff like that. But I keep telling you, this generation of fighter, these weights got to be questioned. Keyshawn looked big. I seen a picture of Abdullah Mason and Errol Spence. Abdullah Mason looked bigger than Spence. Like, what is going on? Shakur keep trying to act like he little. The only one that's actually small per capita is Gervonta Tank Davis. Most of these other dudes aren't. Like Jake Paul keep fighting people, and usually he's way bigger. He was way bigger than Tyson. The only person he wasn't way bigger than is Anthony Joshua. And Joshua is 6'6". He's 6'6" and brolic, so, you know, you'd have to be really big to be bigger than him, pause. But looking at this clip of Crawford, even in retirement, it hasn't been like 2 years. Like, I can understand Tim Bradley, Andre Ward, like they've been out the sport as far as like active fighters for a minute now. So yeah, Tim Bradley, you know, he might put on some size over time. But Bud looks like he looks like he's holding the extra weight. So clearly had the frame. So Bud, now when I'm looking at it, like none of us should have even been concerned for Bud Crawford versus Canelo because he still looked bigger than Canelo. And I told you he already had more skills than Canelo because he's in there with a super middleweight moving around, you know, doing a little shakeout. And, you know, it looked like he got some size to him. And I don't want y'all to overrate it. I get it. He's retired. He could do whatever he wants. He could weigh how much he wants or whatever and travel and eat good. Cool. If it makes you happy, do that. But even before that, like, we're talking about when he was an active fighter, he fought Gamboa and he rehydrated. He was weighing like 152 to like 155, somewhere in there. And they took down the HBO thing because I have it on my computer somewhere, but I have the tail of the tape. So he fought Gamboa and he was way bigger than Gamboa, right? So when I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how his career will be fully evaluated. Because don't get mad at me, I'm showing y'all receipts like I always do. Crawford said before the Gamboa fight in 2014, I'm showing you. Crawford, I warned Gamboa he's a 126 to 130 pounder. So when I'm looking at Crawford and people were judging him like he's small, he probably was bigger than mostly all the guys he fought. For real, for real. If I'm being honest, right? You're admitting you're bigger than Gamboa. I warned Gamboa he's a 126 pounder, right? Even before Crawford had a and he rehydrated. I'm telling you, he rehydrated over 150 pounds. That was back in 2014. So we shouldn't have even been worried for him fighting Canelo because, one, Canelo fought William School and looked washed and lost to Bivol. And two, Bud looks like as he's matured, he's been able to keep mass on him. When he first started, he was like wiry and looked skinny, but now his frame has been able to add the muscle. He's with Snack, and he's been able to add muscle and bulk up and, you know, keep the weight on as he's gotten older. So I got to double back and look at Terence Crawford's career as a whole because if we're talking about Mount Rushmore, I can't put him higher than certain people like Floyd Mayweather, Roberto Duran, and these different people, Manny Pacquiao, the fighters from yesteryear. Like Mike Tyson was always constantly fighting people bigger. Pacquiao always constantly fighting people bigger. Floyd Mayweather, we know, brittle hands and hand issues, always fighting people bigger. Versus a lot of these new cats, and including Terence Crawford, now retired. Has there been anyone that was smaller than him? I mean, has there been anyone that he was way smaller than that he fought? Because Canelo, based on the weight, I guess you could say that, but when you seen him in the ring, he didn't look way smaller than Canelo. But if he would have fought David Benavidez, he would have looked smaller than Benavidez. You get me? So just keep giving me my props. I know my sport. I know boxing. And I've been telling you about Ryan Garcia and all these fighters with the weights. You know, I look at Cool Boy Fulton, Ray Ford. Look at these people in their offseason and then look at the weight that they're campaigning on. Look at Bud Crawford months after the Canelo fight, and you tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of these fighters doing Devin Haney, these big, huge weight cuts. Jared Hurd was one of the people, crazy weight cuts. I studied this sport, and judging from this and Crawford, I see why he didn't stay at 54 long, because that would have been a harder weight cut. And he really told you that before the Canelo fight. He said he ain't worried about it, and he should have been moved up. And Bomac said it too. Now I see why, because it looks like he's holding the higher weights pretty well, even in retirement. But again, let me know if you think he comes back. I'm showing you proof that I don't know. I don't know that.